Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Activate Your Voice, a special LinkedIn Live series with me, your activation coach, Melissa D. White. I am excited every week you guys come back with continuous, contagious energy and just tons of activation. You already know we're bringing you all of the tools and lessons you need to be seen and heard at work and in the world. I've been truly blessed to be in the presence of some amazing people. And let me tell you, every week gets better and better. We're in like week 5 or week 6 now of what I committed to do as a 12-part series because you guys have been phenomenal in supporting the message, but also sharing your own personal activations. If you are a newbie, I want to welcome you to our Activation Nation. If you're watching this with us right now live, do me a favor, go ahead and get engaged so I know you're with us. Put hashtag live. If you are with us on LinkedIn, welcome LinkedIn family. And if you're on YouTube, we welcome you as well. And today we're going to get right to a topic that is near and dear to my heart because it has opened my mind and expanded my world. And that is how to create a legacy to change the world. I thought I knew what legacy was. When I say the word legacy, what does that mean to you? Drop that in the comments. Drop that in the chat. When I say legacy, what is the first word to come to mind? And I want you to hold on to that word because after today's topic, I promise you, you will never see legacy, impact, and influence the same. In a world where we think we're returning to normal, it's just not so. Your legacy is not a solo mission, it's a collaborative effort. And you don't have to have a whole lot of money, but you need to be rich in relationship, ideas, and a plan to achieve it. And today I have the perfect person, and it just so happens she's a fellow activator. As a matter of fact, she's the Chief Activator. I recently connected with this powerful woman. She's so powerful, they call her Jane Storm. I want to welcome to today's LinkedIn Live episode of Activate Your Voice, Jane Storm, which is she's out of New York by way of all over, where she has expanded her reach and her voice for global impact. I personally met her through a recent opportunity to go through the Willpower Training Program, which you'll hear more about. Please stay connected to this. You don't want to miss this amazing information that transformed my life in a matter of 3 days. Yes, 3 days. Today's topic, I really want to unpack. If you're anything like me, and you've wondered, will the work that you do today live beyond you? Will it pass away when you transition on? Is there anyone appointed to continue the influence, the impact? And I'm not talking about what you may think with your family, your kids. I'm talking about work that goes generations deep, beyond what we can see or imagine today. Hmm. Yeah, have you ever thought about that? What about this? Have you built something meaningful and you're not quite sure who to trust with it? Do you have enough resources to outlive you so that it lasts? Okay, if that sounds like you, I think I'm talking to the right people. You're tuned in to Activate Your Voice, and I am excited to welcome my guest, Jane Storm.
Hello, Melissa.
Yay, there she is.
Hi.
The Jane Storm McCarthy. Guys, you got to give it up for this powerhouse. I am honored. Jane,
Woo-hoo.
welcome. It's hard to believe that I met you just here recently, and you have so deeply impacted my life as a trainer. But I thought I was a trainer, but boy, you knew how to activate and turn it up a notch. And I didn't know I could be any more energetic than I already am. So thank you for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So tell us more about yourself, and you were so gracious to accept my invitation today as the Chief Activator. Give us a little backstory about Jane Storm.
Yeah, I'm laughing because there's a storm going on outside
Is
my
that what that
window.
is? That's your cue, Jane Storm. That's your
I
cue.
create storms wherever I go. It'll be gone in a few minutes.
But you're a storm of positivity. Truly,
Yeah,
you are. And that is
yeah.
hilarious. We've had the calmest, greatest reconnect in the green room before the show, but that's your personal storm. That's your cue.
I swear. Yeah, so I am a born and raised New Yorker. And
Mm,
I worked for Verizon for decades.
mhm,
And I ran the loyalty program at Verizon. I love my job. I got to work out of my house. I got to do what I love to do.
mhm,
And in 2018, I was given an opportunity to take a package. And
mm,
I thought, when am I ever going to get this opportunity to leave? And
mhm,
I chose to take the package and wasn't sure what I was going to do. And I
mhm,
was driving in my car from one sales center to another where I
mhm,
had been training about my loyalty program. And
mm.
I thought, what what will I do? And I said, Jane Storm. 5 years ago, I was at my vendor, Kobe
Mhm,
Marketing, down in
mhm,
St. Pete, Florida, and we were there for an annual meeting. And I walked into their creative room, and there was a huge sign on the wall, and it said Jane Storm. And I said,
mm.
what is going on? And they said, Jane, when you show up, we don't brainstorm, we Jane Storm. You connect people with ideas better than anybody we've ever known.
I
And
love it.
so I was like, Jane Storm's going to be the name of my company. Then I knew that I probably could coach and could maybe do training. And what was that going to look like? And I went
Mhm.
on a path, and in the last 3 years, I've become an International Coach Federation professional certified
Yes,
coach.
yes.
And I also went and learned Gallup strengths because I believe that we all should be looking at our strengths
Mhm,
and not our weaknesses. And that when
mhm,
you coach to strengths, you build people up and you build
mhm.
yourself up. So those things ended up me coming up with my tagline, Jane Storm, a positive force for your future.
I love it. And you truly are a positive force. You have been that for me personally. So let me set the stage a bit for you guys. I met Jane, has it been maybe 2 weeks ago
Maybe
now?
at the most
Two or
three.
three. And here's the synergy here. I love when I find alignment in our backstories, because I always find if there's an alignment in our past, then there's a connectivity in our future where we're going. Our paths are
Yes.
crossing for a reason. And I met Jane Storm as our trainer and facilitator. I literally, like Jane, loved my corporate job as a corporate
Mm-hmm.
trainer for almost 20 years. Many of you who are already a part of my Activation Nation know a little bit about that story. But in transition, and building my company, Activation Coaching, I said I need to be on LinkedIn more. I want to really deeply connect with fellow coaches and training opportunities. And that's why we're here in this space, to really find a special type of connection. So you don't look for just anybody. And that's how we connected. Like, I got a message that said, hey, are you
Yes.
open to a training opportunity? And I'm thinking you kind of got the same thing. And then this amazing, unbelievable, unimaginable thing called willpower training comes up. It's like 3 days. Okay. And it wasn't that the key was the thing I heard, Jane, when you first started was, we're not here to teach you to train.
Amen.
We're here to do what?
We were there because you were chosen because you're kind.
Hmm.
You are kind. The common denominator for willpower is kindness.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that we've brought through, which is over 230 trainers so far,
Around the world. Let's give them
around
context.
the world, globally.
So in a matter of 3 days, with one LinkedIn post, well, one LinkedIn message, one yes, and 3 days to globally sit. And I'm talking about on a Zoom to talk and to hear and build relationships globally.
You know, we talk about kindness and we talk about meaningful connections.
Yes.
When we were looking at doing this, so in August of last year, I put a post on LinkedIn and I talked about job sharing. I job shared for 15 years in Verizon. I was in New York out of my house. My job share partner was in Virginia in the company offices. I worked Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Mary worked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Wednesdays were our overlap day, and we would be on conference calls all day. This was way before Zoom. This was way before Microsoft Teams. This was way before Blue Jeans. This was, you picked up the phone or you were on a speakerphone. We would go to Basking Ridge, to headquarters, and you'd hear people, and you'd say, I think I was on a call with you last week. You would have no idea what they look like. But all of a sudden, you had this connection. So I put that post out. It got a lot of play. And then I got connected. I got a call. I got a LinkedIn message from Will. I had met Will through a VP 3 years ago, but we never met more than just passing messages back and forth. And I went through the first questionnaire with Christian, one of the customer services people, and he said, I cannot imagine Jane Storm and Will Power in the same room.
Now you have to give my audience some context here, Jane. You have to give them some context because I've talked to Will. You know him and work closely with him. Will Power Harris. You talk about the perfect storm.
He's magic. He's magic. Yeah. And so fast forward 8 months, and I am now his chief of staff, the director of global training, and the chief activator for Will Power. And who is Will? Will is brilliant when it comes to training. He is an amazing speaker. He is inspirational beyond anything you can ever imagine. But really what Will is a humanitarian. And that's the part that draws people even more so. I mean, yes, he's got magic. He can train like no one I've ever met before in my life. He can mesmerize an audience. But it's his work that he's doing in India and in Ghana and around the world, where he's planning on opening up 11 orphanages around the world.
Phenomenal.
Where he is helping young people. He has a group of willpower warriors. Every Sunday they go out and they go to help the elderly. They help the street kids in India. We are going in April and we are setting the foundation on his first orphanage, which I get to be a part of, which is beyond anything I could have ever imagined. I tell a story about when I was 5, I went to JFK, the international airport in New York. And my mom and dad were involved with the Friends of the Vietnamese. And on December 5th, when I was 5 years old, I gave my Barbie doll to Leah Smiley when she got off the plane from Vietnam. And it was life-changing for me. But I didn't know that until 25 years later, when I could not have a baby naturally the second time. And we adopted my son.
Wow.
And then 5 years later, or whatever, he's going to be 21 years later, I meet Will. And I am going to India to put bricks down on an orphanage. If that is not the universe, and if that is not the circle of life, it is an incredible honor. And Will has an incredible heart to do this work and to create a legacy 50, 100, 200 years from now, and is building that work so that others can do the same.
hearing that story, I get like the fuzzy goosebumps that it was all connected to bring you to this place.
Absolutely.
And I truly felt the same, that it wasn't about our own individual companies or individual work. It was the collective mission of kindness, of giving back, of
Yes.
global community. And how do we support that vision? Now, Will has a saying that hit me deep.
I know which one it is.
Which one is it, Jane? About the heart.
It's use what you love to fight what you hate.
Somebody type that in the chat.
Use
Use
what you
what you
love
love
to
to
fight
fight
what
what
you
you
hate.
hate. And that to me was the essence of activation.
Yep.
To use what you love to fight hate. For you, it's
Yeah.
positivity to
Yeah.
fight that. For me, it was your voice. I strongly advocate on this platform and many, it's using video, using the power of our voice collectively to make a difference.
Yeah.
That is kindness. You're absolutely right, Marjorie. It is so imperative that we use what we love in any facet. So I want you to think as you're listening to this, are you using one first of all, do you know what you love? Have you identified it?
Mm.
Are you using it for good to fight what you hate?
Yeah.
And I've been in corporate 20 something years, and I never heard a statement so powerful in my life, Jane.
Mm. So when I first met him, I it was incredible, the words that come out of his mouth. And I actually keep a log of his quotes because they are so powerful.
Yes.
There's two others that I want to tell you. One is
Mhm.
repetition builds belief.
Mm.
Repetition builds belief. And when you really think about what you want to do in life, you can't just do it one time. You have to keep doing it and you have to
Mhm.
create a habit. And we see that even when you're building your legacy, you have to know what your habits are, because Will
Mm.
say when he sees people's habits, he can tell where they're going to go. He
Mhm.
knows it. He feels it. He sees it.
Mhm. That's good.
And
So
the other
habits.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And the other one that's been huge, especially when you're thinking about your legacy, which is by the way mind blowing. We
Mhm.
bring this up, as you know, in our uh, training classes, and
Yes.
and then people don't sleep. 3 weeks later at 3 o'clock in the morning, Melissa's typing to me saying, "Jane, I'm still thinking about this. So excited! I need to know more. I want
Mhm.
to know more." And
Mhm.
one of the things that Will does in those legacy retreats is he makes you realize that you have to suspend what you know in order to grow.
Oh my gosh, talk about that.
So when you think you know everything, and a lot of us coaches, trainers, speakers that have been around a long time, corporate America people, we think we know it all. When we
Mhm.
suspend it and we listen and we ask powerful questions and we take a step back and peel back the onion to who we really are
Mhm.
and what do we really want to do and who do we want to be going forward, we can suspend what we know in order to grow.
That is such a transformational statement.
Mm-hmm.
And what it did for me personally, Jane, as a recipient of your training and of the coaching during those 3 days, was it allowed me to take off the expert hat, because we always have to show up and know everything. I
Right?
was able to be completely transparent about what I don't know,
Yes.
what I
Yes.
have not done, because I just either did not know. And sometimes what happens is we stunt our growth when we are not vulnerable enough.
Yes.
And I see the parallel with legacy. It's thinking you have to do it all yourself and know it all by yourself
Yeah.
and build it all by yourself. And until you're willing, like on those calls, and can I say this about the willpower team? I mean, guys, if you're watching this, we're talking about A class, fun, like top tier trainers from around the world,
Yeah.
completely humble, very open and transparent. Like you have to be ready, and you share the correction and the feedback with grace. Like, hey, let's make these changes, because you want us to be better, because we're representing you, or we're representing ourselves.
Yes.
And you have to approach legacy being willing to be vulnerable about, hey, this is my passion, and I don't know how to get it further than this.
Mm-hmm. The other thing is that we go back to the word kind. So when we are bringing trainers on, people come into the training, and after the first day, I get emails out. Taizi, who I see is on, gets
Yes.
emails. Marjorie gets emails saying, I found my tribe. I didn't know this tribe existed. I didn't know there were a group of people that thought like me, that actually want to change the world and make a difference and do it in a kind way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we start. And then from there, he's been looking at legacy for many years, for about 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then didn't really know where it was going until September of this year. And when he started to do the training, he realized how important it is for people to have a safe space to allow themselves to dream, to take that purpose, to take what they love, to fight what they hate, and put it into a master plan. And that master plan goes around AIM. AIM
Talk
is
about that.
Awareness,
Mm-hmm.
impact, and mastery.
Mm.
And what we've done is we've created a space in the Bahamas, in an incredible, incredible environment where people from around the world, last time we had people from Italy, Germany, Ireland, England, California, Atlanta, Florida, New York, you name it, around the world.
The globe.
You know, in every race, color, and creed and age group. There were young people there. And, you know, we were all there together to unlock our visions, to unlock our purposes, and to create an awareness on how we can move forward in our mission to launch legacies around the world.
Hearing you say it all over again, it's like, it's mind-blowing to think that, like you said, like finding your tribe, but knowing you're not alone in that pursuit. And many of us, I want to unpack this a little bit more, Jane. Many people who are watching this, who I asked the questions in the beginning, have you built something that you're certain, like, you know, for a fact, you have the right tools in place where to outlive you, right? There were two, I believe, maybe two key ingredients that you all taught us in the training that you need for legacy to last. What were those two things?
Well, you need sustainability, right? So you have to know the goal is we are not going to live forever. However, we can create something that will. And so what is it that is going to be sustainable is the first part. And then the second is, what's the quality? You know, what is it that's going to stand out from others, that's going to create something that's going to last 50, 100, 200 years from now? So the other piece that we bring in is the younger generation. How do you bring in the younger generation? How do you bring others in with you? Who is at your trust table? Who is your influencers? How are you going to make a difference? So one of the ways that I am looking at this is that I have a legacy of hope. And so when you think of hope, I think of it as holding on to positive energy.
I like that. I love that, Jane.
And what I'm doing is I'm going to have a Hope Institute, and it's going to be focused around women. And women are going to come who are lacking confidence, who are struggling, who are in between where they want to be, who may not understand the difference between having power and being in force. And what's going to happen is it will be a curriculum of to get to a hope-filled life. And once they get to the hope-filled life, that will be 9 months. The last 3 months, they will be mentoring. And they're going to be mentoring girls perhaps from Will's orphanage, or they'll be mentoring girls from India because we work with India a lot, or Brazil with our friends from Brazil, getting connected with them, or from the United States. And what will happen is we will have Hope Activator Awards, and there will be an award ceremony. And that award ceremony will be helped by other corporations. Those corporations will give donations. And then when the Hope Activator wins, there will be money given back to the orphanage. And we will create a momentum. And then when a child graduates from the orphanage, they will be asked to go back and sponsor a child so that we continue to have the hope grow for the future, and that it never, ever goes away.
So what I hear you saying is sustainability and sponsorship.
Yes.
That you can't just have young people come through. There has to be a buy-in or a commitment to reach back and bring other people in.
Beautifully said. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And so when we're in the Bahamas, it's a place where you get to focus on what it is that you want to do. And so there's pre-work that's done. Then there's coaching. There's a tremendous amount of work done with Will. He is, this is his thing. This is Will. This is what he does beyond anything I've ever seen before. And the people that have gone through the legacy retreats have said it has been life transformational. It has changed everything that they've ever thought about. And there's continued conversations and coaching, and it doesn't stop after 6 days. This goes on. This is huge. This is going to change the world. We want to launch 1,000 legacies or more. We want to change the world.
I love that. I wanted to make sure they get that information, Jane. If you just see below here, you can inbox me or Jane Storm. I'll make sure you get to the right person. That lit up my world, the idea that I can make room to dream and it doesn't feel like something far-fetched or unattainable, but it became tangible the moment you said, come to the room where there are people already doing this. And it was I felt like I was sitting in a car with no keys and didn't know how to get there. And as a nonprofit founder, as an organizational leader, and as I shared with your team, as a generational nonprofits founder, I couldn't. At some point, you get tired of beating your head against the wall. And nonprofit does not mean no profits, right? Global work, community work, humanitarianism doesn't mean you're poor while giving. Doesn't mean you can't give from what you do have. And it says the poor will always be among you. So we will always be in a position where we need to give back and serve. The problem was the 2 keys that you got. One, it was a key to start the car, and you reactivated me. Because, and just truly, I had to say that. And so legacy, I want to talk to those for a second in our second half here, Jane. There are those like myself who are watching this that are part of our tribe that have started a work, who had the idea of a Hope Academy, or like my youth organization, Right Now Wrongs. They just had something in their spirit, but it became politicized. It became pulled on. It became diluted because of everyone else's agenda. And it just became daunting. It is thankless, tireless work sometimes. And to hear the 2 keys, there was one key that reactivated me. And there was another key that gave me a roadmap. It was like, I may not know the next 5 years, but I know a roadmap to get me to the Bahamas to get the rest of the pieces. I need
Absolutely.
it.
And it's interesting because one of the things that he has the capacity to break it down in a way that you've never thought about before.
Mm-hmm.
He asks powerful questions and you do powerful exercises.
Mm-hmm.
And when I first got involved with going to the Legacy Retreat, which was back in December, we've done it now 5 times. He pushed me. He pushed me. And it was good he did, because he knew I had it in me. And when he believes in you, he pushes you harder than you could ever imagine. And people have now realized that they had to suspend what they knew in order to grow. And that's where the you see lots of aha moments. You get to work with the other people that are there. And we have now people that are working on their legacies together. We have someone in Italy and someone in England. They're working on it together. We have someone from England and someone from Colorado. They're working on it together.
Wow.
So matching up the legacies and where people are has made a difference. We've got people that want to work with young people and work with sports. We've got a woman that is going to do escape rooms, Shonda, out of Georgia, actually.
Really?
And she's working with juniors and seniors in high school, and she's making strides. We've got a woman in France working with expats. It's a humbling experience to be in a room with people who want to change the world and with a leader that knows the map to get them there.
You're right. And I want to make mention, you guys have heard us here for the last 30 minutes talk about the parallels in shifting from corporate. I call it from profession to purpose.
Yeah.
That's what I call that. And LinkedIn was the bridge.
Yeah.
And you shifted from, I love my profession, but now I get to go live purpose.
Yeah. So I'm married 27 years, and my husband, someone asked my husband recently, how do you feel about what Jane is doing? And he said, I've been waiting for this moment for 27 years.
Wow.
And when I met a friend of mine the other night for a drink, and she's known me 20 years, my friend Nancy Berg. And she said, Jane, I have not seen you so lit up ever. And you have always loved your jobs. My mother will tell you, I came out of the womb loving people. Really, it's the truth. And so if you give me people and then you give me really cool work, I am happy. I am able to bring those two things together in a way that I've never been able to do before. And from the training classes, as you've experienced, having anywhere from 30 to 50 people from around the world in training, where we have people go into breakout rooms, where we ask powerful questions, where we get to know each other on a different level than just the regular working environment. Because really, professional is, Will loves to say that there's a fine line between being professional and boring.
He said that. I heard that, and it just cracked me up. And it's so true.
And it's so true. And so we work really hard on not being boring.
And not one bit, not boring at all. Listen, they're showing you so much love here live. Christian, thank you so much for the hearts and likes. Thank you so much, Marjorie. I saw you jump on earlier. And for those who are watching, if you have a question, if you're watching this, it's not a coincidence. And if you're still watching, then you really, really want to know, what's legacy? What are your questions about legacy? Here's your opportunity to ask Jane live, or if you're watching the replay, drop your questions below. We'll make sure that they get to Jane. Jane, tell them maybe a little bit more about the Legacy Retreat, your personal experience with the retreat, and other opportunities to join and connect with the Willpower Training Team.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So our legacy retreat is Sunday to Friday. You arrive in the Bahamas on a Sunday, and then Monday morning we start early because we have the most magnificent sunrises you could ever imagine in your life. And we start by meditating because it's important, once again, to just clear your mind as you're going through it. And then we go through exercises, and Will takes us through some incredible exercises. I've been through the legacy retreat now, as I said, 5 times. I am one of the legacy coaches. We get to help, support, ask powerful questions, and get people to their wow, and get them to their aha moments. And it is one of the most exciting things to watch it happen. I was in a group. It was the first week of the last 2-week session that we had. And I was with my group, which, by the way, were called the Activators. They self-named themselves the Activators. And I remember sitting there, and Michelle was trying to come up with the name of what her legacy was going to be. And Peter and myself and April and Pamela, we all worked together as a team to come up with what the next steps would be. And it was so cool because she didn't have to do it alone. She went off and she was able to continue to build her plan, but she had a tribe of people that were working with her. And it was really just heartwarming and unimaginable that this was actually going to happen, and that people went from starting at a 1 with what their legacy was to some as high as an 8 before they left 5 days later. There is, as I said, an amazing house that we stay at. It is on the water. There's a chef. There are, we have a party at the end of it, which is a graduation. We have a group of people that are working together to bring this to a level that is higher than you could ever imagine. And a lot of the people that have come through Legacy have started where you did, Melissa. They came and decided that they wanted to go through training. And why are you doing training, people say, and why are you paying to do training?
Right.
We need people that have skin in the game. We need people that believe in themselves enough to grow. And so we offer 3 days, 9 hours of training. And after the first day, if it's not for you, guess what? We'll say goodbye happily and wish you well. We have not had that happen. People are inspired because you don't have the opportunity very often in your life to grow your business, grow yourself professionally, and grow with others, all in one Zoom room. And that's what is happening. To learn about the tips and tricks that Will has mastered for LinkedIn and social selling is beyond what people are ever expecting. To open up and expand your mind to start to think about where you want to be with legacy is what most people have not ever thought about before. And then to meet people that are going to be with you for a very long time, it's just the icing on the cake.
It was instant connections made within my group, within my cohort group, and to know that they touched every corner of the globe. And as you stated, some people would say, well, why would you pay to join an organization or training? And my question to you is, why would you not? After everything we just said, where else, what networking event, what conference, what training would you get for that minimal investment for access? We're giving you keys. If nothing else, come for the connection, the camaraderie, the personal development, and the opportunities, the opening, the activation itself alone and that's not just a word, guys. I know you hear us say that. Activation means to, if you've been with me for a while, it's to ignite, to turn on, to really awaken. There was a reawakening that it is possible for me to dream again. It is possible as a trainer to make a real impact. Many of us have fatigue. We're burned out and we don't always see the fruits of our labor. and to see, wow, we can really make a real impact. I'm not by myself. And so I
Yes.
think what you do at Willpower Training, Jane, thank you. I want to personally say thank you for how you have touched my life, to the organization, to Willpower Training, of the lives you're changing, just one kind person at a time in every part of the world. And so you have the next training coming up in April, I believe. How can they
Yes,
learn
April
more?
12th, 13th, and
Okay.
14th. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Mm-hmm.
and it's from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern. And we do that time because, once again, we have people from around the globe.
Mm-hmm.
So, where it's 10 o'clock in New York, it's 7 o'clock in California, and it's 5 o'clock in London. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's what we do. And that class is getting full. So, if you're interested, get in touch with us as soon as possible. And we'd love to have you. We are looking for people that have experience, that can command a Zoom room, have creativity, and believe that their script is by looking in the mirror.
Mm, that's so awesome. Guys, definitely make sure you maximize this moment. This is your moment, your personal invitation to join the Jane Storm and Willpower trainers from around the globe. When will you have another opportunity from right there in your home to converse, to learn, to glean, to sit and discuss your legacy with people of this magnitude? Do not miss this moment. If you're watching this, Jane, how can our community connect with you, learn more about Jane Storm, the coaching and training that you offer, as well as be a part of your movement as well?
So my website is janestorm.com. Once again, a positive force for your future. And my email at Willpower is jane@willpowerharris.com. Jane
Awesome.
at willpowerharris.com. We also have a website, willpowerharris.com. It's getting updated always. And, one of the things you'll learn about coming on the Willpower Way is we are learning on a daily basis, and we
Mm-hmm.
are growing with everything. And so as we learn, we just keep making improvements, and because we're never stagnant, there's so much out there that we can create an even better world.
Mm-hmm. So
There
make
it
sure
is.
you go here to willpowerharris.com. You can learn more about the training program. If you want to just, find out what's this all about, you see right there for organizations, trainers, and of course, legacy, as we talked about today. You can get more information by emailing Jane,
Yes.
as well as going to her website. And if your organization wants to experience the Jane Storm for yourself, you can go to janestorm.com, meet Jane, her team, and work with her because she's certified in many areas in terms of strength training, managing your impact. There's a toolkit there on her website. Jane, you have been absolutely amazing. Any final words today about impact and making a global impact as we wrap up today?
I would say that when I think of you and I think of where we are, we pop, right? Because what we're looking to do as activators is point out the positive. We want to pop. So I would say if you're ready to pop and point out the positives in your life and you want to pop your world, come to the Legacy Retreat. Come to the
Mhm.
Willpower Training.
Mhm.
Pop on in. We want you.
I love it. Jane Storm, thank you so much for spending a little time with me here on LinkedIn and YouTube Live. Activation Nation, I welcome you. I invite you. I tell you that this is all about you being seen, being heard, and getting the tools you need to activate your voice. Willpower training has been another phenomenal piece of the toolkit of life that I'm using to build legacy. Will you join me? Will you join us in our kindness movement to impact the world locally and globally? You've been amazing, Jane. Thank you for pouring into us.
Thank
Hey, if
you.
this episode was helpful to you, don't be stingy. Turn on your notifications, hit that share button. If you're on YouTube, subscribe so you get alerts for every time we go live. We're right here on LinkedIn, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as on our YouTube channel. And this episode was brought to you by Activation Coaching International, where training is for information and coaching is for results. To learn more, follow our Facebook page and join our community. Our activation coaches are especially equipped to give you inclusive language to be seen and heard at work and in the world. You can join us in our Facebook group where we are activating 1,000 voices around the world with speakers, coaches, entrepreneurs using the power of video to monetize your message and hit big stages. I'm your girl, Melissa D, Coach Mel, and you've been tuned in to Activate Your Voice. Give it up for Jane Storm, guys, and we'll see
thank you,
you
Melissa.
next week. Bye,
All right.
everyone.